Hey, you guys, welcome back. Today I'm picking up at part 6, and we are about at age 3. We are now in a new city and state, and I have met my current husband, my boyfriend at the time. My daughter had never seen me with nobody in my life, so she didn't really know how to treat him. She wasn't very nice to him. It's funny thinking about it now, but then it wasn't very nice. And my parents had never seen me with anybody, and my family, my sisters and brothers, had never seen me with anybody. So it was very awkward as far as trying to bring him around and trying to introduce him to my family, because it came off like they didn't approve, but really they was just shocked because they never seen me with nobody. But long story short, we're married today. He ended up being exactly what I needed. He actually treated me the way I was supposed to be treated. And it was really, we went through a lot at the beginning of our relationship. But now I can say everything is so much better. But just thinking about what I went through on the account of other people. So now at this time that I've met my current husband, my parents decide that they want to move back to the city and state that we just left from. This is maybe about my daughter being 3 or 4 years old. They decided they wanted to go back to the state where we grew up, where our home place, right? So I was in a new relationship. I had moved into another place. I was comfortable. I was happy. I didn't want to go with them. So it came down to a point where my mama was like, I'll take her. Talking about my daughter, she said, I'll take her, I'll take it, I'll be her guardian or whatever, because I didn't have a job, I didn't have anything, any type of means in order to take care of my own daughter. So the apartment like I said, I had an apartment, but the apartment that I was in was low income based, and I wasn't working, so I had no rent. Yeah, she could have stayed there with me, but I barely had any food in the refrigerator and things like that. So really, while, like I said, I did have my own place, but my daughter was with my parents most of the time because I didn't really have much in my place. So we all collectively decided to make the decision that she would go live with them when they went back to our hometown. So they moved, and to fast forward maybe about 4 years she was there with them. I would go see her on her birthdays and things like that. So, I would always talk to her and stuff like that every day. So she knew me as her mama. And at this age, she's maybe about 7. And she's like, I want to come home. I want to live with you and things like that. So I started, making arrangements to go get her. Well, God is good because things became better. I got a good job, and I was able to go get my baby and bring her home with me. So that same year, later in the year of me going to get her and bringing her home with me, my parents decided to come visit me out of town, away from our hometown, and bring my sister to visit us for Christmas. So when they came, it was a lot of work. Get my sister's handicapped. My mama's her primary caregiver. My mama's like 73, 74 years old at this point. My dad, who had a stroke and carrying on, he's doing better, right? He can drive and everything at this point. So they made it up here, all for it to maybe they stayed the night. My daughter wanted to go over there. She stayed the night with them while they were here visiting. And the next day they got up to go to Dollar Tree. Well, my daughter being gone to her grandparents' house and me having a break, I just laid around, right? I took my time going over there to take my mom and my daughter to Dollar Tree. So by the time I finally get there, we went, and my mom is like kind of rushing around because she still had to get some things ready because they were making Christmas dinner. This was the holiday. And so, she was rushing around, but when we got to Dollar Tree, she was like, I just don't feel well. I'm going to just sit in the car. You guys go in, blah, blah, blah. So we went in, get everything. We come out. She's breathing hard. She's hot. And I'm like, what's going on? She was like, oh, I'm okay. She never wanted us to feel bad for her. So we get back to, we were staying at my aunt's house. They were staying at my aunt's house while they were in town visiting us for Christmas. Because my house wasn't big enough to accommodate them. So, and this is kind of, I'm reliving this for the first time since it happened. So my mom was out of breath from walking in the house from Dollar Tree. She started coughing. She started wheezing and spitting. And it was really bad. It wasn't normal. So then, all of a sudden, she fell out of her chair. She started foaming at the mouth. And I was, I knew that something was wrong because she was kind of throwing up. So I took my daughter and I'm like, come on, let's go over here and play with the puppy, in a different room or whatever. So I just hear my uncle yelling, I need help. We need help. Get in here. Run in there. My mom was on the floor. She's foaming at the mouth and all the things. And they called 911. 911 gets there. Eventually she stops breathing. They got her to breathe again. And the lady told us that she was pretty much dead. She was brain dead. She was completely dead for at least 4 or 5 minutes before they brought her back to life. So they was like, we're going to pray that she's going to be okay. But they were like, prepare. Just be prepared either way. She's not out of the clear. So they transported her. She went to the hospital and everything. This was the day before Christmas Eve. So it would have been December 23rd, 2020 something. December 23rd, 2018. So, long story short, visited mom for about 2 weeks. She lived. She was on life support. She was brain dead. My dad decided to pull the plug. She wouldn't want to live on, being brain dead. She wouldn't want to live on machines. So we waited till all the family came out of town because again, we're all here in where we moved to originally, not from our hometown. So our family from home, sisters, brothers, aunts, whatever, everybody had to come here to see her and say the goodbyes. Well, in doing so, my dad, he stayed, and my sister, my handicapped sister, stayed, and I became the primary caregiver for my handicapped sister, and I became the caregiver for my dad because he's completely handicapped too. So I'm gonna stop right there. I thank God. God gets the glory. He gave me the strength to talk about it, to actually get through this part. And it's all part of my testimony. And at that time, I didn't understand. I was mad. Of course, that's my mama. I was sad. He ended up pulling the plug on her January 6, 2019. A couple weeks later, I found out I was pregnant with my second daughter, Zizi. So come back for part, 6, I think. Stay blessed. Bye-bye.